The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Drive. Here's one for you. And I'm waiting on to see who the third one will be for this kind of interesting triumphant of deaths. So Peter Marshall died yesterday. Did you know Peter Marshall?
I did not know.
Okay. He was the host. He was the host of Hollywood Squares. Okay, they would have Hollywood Squares, and they'd have these guys. You know, then you'd have to connect the dots, tic-tac-toe style, and to win the prize. Okay, yep. Mm-hmm. Center Square was always a secret. The secret square too. Do you know who Peter Marshall's son was?
Mr. Marshall?
No, because that was not his real name. Peter Marshall was not his real name.
Oh, man.
Stage name. Okay. His real last name is Lecoq. Okay. His son was a guy by the name of Pete Lecoq. And Pete Lecoq played baseball, played Major League Baseball. His last appearance, well, it wasn't his last appearance. It was the last appearance of this famous pitcher, Bob Gibson, in 1975. Pete Lecoq hit a grand slam off of him.
It's unfortunate.
And fortunate for Pete Lecoq because he faced Bob Gibson in an old-timers game later on in his life, and Bob Gibson beamed him. The other guy who died yesterday, a little conversation starter for you, is the guy that founded the famous Amos chocolate chip cookie. Okay?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So
Amos was his name?
Wally Amos was his name. Okay. And he passed away. And unfortunately for Mr. Amos, he was 88. He died at his home in Hawaii. He founded Famous Amos, but then he lost control of his company many, many years ago. The company that he made famous. He lost it.
I have a hard time thinking this is part of a trifecta here.
Well, there's
just no...
There's no connection there?
I mean, what's the connection? I mean, they're
famous.
They're so famous that I've never heard of either one of them.
You've never heard of Famous Amos? Like Famous Amos cookies?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Peter Marshall, you've heard of Peter. You've heard of Peter.
I've heard of his cookies, but I've never heard of Peter Marshall.
You had never heard of Peter Marshall?
I've heard of Hollywood Squares,
okay.
But I mean, that was really most of it before my time.
No, that's fair.
I've seen the show.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I can't connect the dots between the guy who invented the Famous Amos cookie and a game show host.
And a game show host. Okay. Well, that's fair, and there may be a connection that. See, what might happen is you might have another game show host die, and then you'd have those two game show hosts, and then you might have the gal. Remember the old the former ball girl for the Oakland A's, who she also had a cookie. Okay, and so maybe she dies this weekend, and those the two cookie makers go in a separate pod.
Okay. This is a true story?
Yeah.
There's a ball girl for the A's who had a famous
back
cookie.
in the day. Yeah. She had a cookie. Right. What are we doing here? Is that?
I've been asking that for about 36 minutes now.
I mean, if you're just going to talk about killing people, I'm just going to play funeral music the whole time.
Okay. I'll get you her.
Chuck's like, maybe she'll die this weekend. Like, he wants to pull it all together. That would make a connection.
Her name, Deborah Jane Siver. She later became more known as Debbie Fields. She was the founder of Mrs. Fields Cookies, and she would make cookies and give them to the umpires and the ball players. And she made a good cookie, and so as a result of that, she founded that cookie business. She began doing that when she was a ball girl, and her cookie became Mrs. Fields.
Oh, I bet they can't touch Suze, who brings them to me over at the Tech baseball games. her homemade cookies.
Oh no,
You want to kill her too, Chuck?
No, I'm not.
No, let's not kill her. I like her.
We're not killing.
I like her and her cookies.
We're not killing her.
I'm just finding out where the list is that we're trying to kill people here.
Yeah. So anyway, I just there you go.
You are an amazing specimen.
My wife served Peter Marshall beer at a Midland Cub game in 1972. Yeah, because I'm sure Pete Lecoq probably played for the Midland Cubs because he came up with the Chicago Cubs. That's who he played for. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then we got Greg Kinn. He passed away yesterday. Now, Jack Russell, I don't know who he was. The lead singer.
He was a terrier.
Okay. Okay.
Who's Greg Kinn?
He was the Greg Kinn band. I think that's right. Jeff knows who Greg Kinn is, right? Don't you know? You know who he is, right, Jeff?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who is he?
He founded and led the Greg Kinn band. He had
ringing no bells.
Ringing no bell. Okay. Well,
can I just start showing up at 7 every morning?
Do you think that'd be a good time for you?
I think that'd be a good
You'd
time
miss this
for me.
sports history, though.
Okay, 6:45. I'll show up at 6:45.
Well, I mean, somebody says you're rambling, Chuck. Well, I mean, I was just trying to provide a little extra entertainment and things along those lines. Mm-hmm. All right.
The morning drive where people have to die to make the host point.
Yeah. It is certainly refreshing to see at least one of Texas Tech sports teams, a.k.a. soccer, playing a strong non-conference schedule instead of playing the Little Sisters of the Blind. And football or basketball or baseball, soccer don't back down from anybody. Yeah, they played the number 4 team in the country yesterday, Penn State, and got beat. But, man, they've had a rash of injuries, haven't they?
Yeah. They have. They've really been hit hard by injuries. And slow down there with your adding baseball to that mix. The two top 10 teams they played in the first week of the season last year, they definitely played a weak non-conference schedule. Come on, man.
Come on. We could.
I mean, your point about basketball, legit.
Legit, yeah.
Legit.
That's legit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's legit.
Tech football has gone on the road to play tough teams 2 years in a row. Last year, too tough, unfortunately.
Yeah. The morning drive where people have to die to make the host's point. What the heck is going on with this segment? I don't know. We kind of got off the trail a little bit. We'll see if we can. We meaning me.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
The morning drive. Here's a breath of fresh air. Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history on August the 16th, 2024.
Boy, we're in trouble. 1927, New York Yankee slugger Babe Ruth tees off on Tommy Thomas in the 5th inning to hit his first home run hit out of Comiskey Park in Chicago. Yankees beat the White Sox 8-1.
Double T. Not good there.
No, definitely not. 1954, American band management company Authentic Brands Group first publishes their sports magazine. It was called Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I miss the days of getting Sports Illustrated on the week and sporting news. I mean, kind of sound like an old man there, but I miss that.
They don't print Sports Illustrated at all anymore?
I don't think so.
I think it's just online now.
Yeah, I think it's just online.
And it is no longer because it was like a recap of the week in sports, and now it's more just feature stories. 1964, St. Louis Cardinals center fielder Curt Flood gets 8 straight hits in a doubleheader split against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. That's a good day.
Yeah, really.
1981, highest score ever in a World Cup soccer match. New Zealand beats Fiji 13-0. That's a lot of goals in soccer.
Sounds like you might consider changing goalkeeper there.
I mean, at that point, it's anybody's goal at that point. 2008, American swimmer Michael Phelps wins his 7th of 8 gold medals at the Beijing Olympics, and when he takes the 100-meter butterfly in the Olympic record 50.58. And in 2015, former Red Raider A.J. Ramos saved number 16 on the year for the Marlins in a 6-4 win over the Cardinals. He cased 2 of the 3 batters he faces in the 9th. Happy National Rum Day.
Like rum the liquor or rum the cake?
Well, where do you think the rum cake gets its name from? Give you a hint. It's not a plant.
Okay.
Huge birthday today.
So if you eat a lot of the cake, do you get a little tipsy?
You have to eat a lot of the cake because most of the alcohol cooks out.
So.
I mean, is it possible? Yes. Will you have diabetes? Yes.
The thing you have to watch out for are the rum floaters on top of the pina coladas if you happen to find yourself in Cancun. That's the challenge. Stay away from the rum floaters.
Huge birthday of someone we're all a huge fan of. Happy birthday, Brad Sham, turning 75 today.
Oh, a true treasure.
Also, somebody that we're a fan of. Happy birthday, former Red Raider basketball player Robert Lewandowski, 35 today.
I wonder what he's doing.
Got no idea. Madonna is 66. Steve Carroll, 62. James Cameron, 70. Kathy Lee Gifford, 71. Yu Darvish, 38. And Delano DeShields Jr. is 32. And apparently continuing with the death and destruction that we were talking about in the last segment, 1987. Northwest Flight 255 was headed to California with a stopover in Phoenix when it pulled away from the gates in Detroit. While the DC-9 Super 82 taxied out to the runway, the pilot and co-pilot failed to conduct their pre-flight checks accordingly to procedure, and as a result, the takeoff warning system was never turned on. What the warning system would have let them know is that they hadn't deployed their flaps, meaning that the plane could not get enough lift and crashed into the road across from the runway. The crash killed 154 people, including NBA center Nick Vanos from the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
The lone survivor was a 4-year-old Chelsea Chillin. And that is this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. Well, that kind of ended on a downer there. 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Paul reports in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line this morning from the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. I valet parked Dan Quayle's massive Mercedes a long time ago. Okay, brush with greatness there. He also reports homemade chocolate chip coconut cookies are amazing. Can do without the coconut. Okay.
You don't like the coconuts on top?
No, I do not like the coconuts on top, no. I think that's pretty well documented.
Does Bullfighter have the coconuts on his list?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot on that list.
You've had a lot of brushes with greatness, though, Chuck. I mean, you hung out with Bill Walton.
I've had a few that had my share of. Hey,
I did a radio show with Chuck Heinz for like 10 years.
All it got you was what sent you to the funny farm.
Yeah. That's why I used past tense. I think I'm announcing my retirement.
Are you? Okay. I didn't know this, and I'm guessing it continues on because it's over at Burl Huffman. But did you know that there was the USA Archery Nationals are taking place here in our fine city?
Dr. Dre over there?
I wonder. But, I mean, there's people here apparently, according to this article on the KCBD site, we've got folks here from Taiwan, Denmark, the Netherlands, Mexico, Canada, Virgin Islands, Jamaica. I mean, apparently you got to shoot hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arrows. This tournament is free. It's open to the public. These are like the best archers in the world. And I think there's a bronze medalist who just won a bronze in Paris who's like here in our fair city.
Awesome.
Isn't that cool? So, I mean, I think Dr. Dre's still, he's still practicing. I mean, and here's the deal. I mean, if he practices enough and earns a spot and wins it, then good for him, right?
That would be great for him.
I mean, you can't buy your way to that thing.
I don't think so.
This guy named Matthew Knopfel is quoted in this article. He's from Team USA. He says you need to shoot between like 200 and 400 arrows a day.
Right.
Said like. Right. That's a direct quote. And then come out and hope your game is a little better than the next guy. Like 200 to 400. I found myself, I think I wrote that the other day in something. And then
oh, goodness.
And I thought to myself, that's not right. That's when I looked back at it, I wrote like this, like that, So, yeah, so.
You literally wrote like.
Somebody says this, I agree, Chuck, no coconut on chocolate chip cookies. Yes. And Bullfighter, our scribe of the morning drive and really he's really our secretary, right? Secretary for Double T 97.3?
Yeah, that's a good term.
Secretary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean that he's a secretary. Let's see. I can forgive Chuck for his ramblings this morning. It's hard to find sports stories in early August. It's a scientific fact that early August is the slowest time of the year in the sports world. That's not true. Apparently incorrect. Sports Illustrated is still printed monthly. Who knew? I did not know that, in all honesty. I did not know that. Because I used to be a subscriber. Were you a subscriber of Sports Illustrated back in the day?
I don't think I ever subscribed to it. I don't think so. Maybe I was. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I got it. I think I would just wait till they would have Jordan on the cover and then I'd go buy it.
Okay.
Or Jeter or whoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
This does not sound like a complimentary song. Maybe it is a complimentary song to our discussions this morning so far.
We just got a lovely bunch of coconuts today, folks.
Yeah. Hey, you want to talk some Red Raider football after 7?
I would have enjoyed doing it after 6.
We got to get people awake, before you can do that.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning, Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We're talking some Red Raider football. They'll have a scrimmage tomorrow over at Jones Stadium as they're getting things ready for football in a couple of weeks. They're still getting the stadium ready, too. I mean, it's coming along. It's coming along. I think, looked to me the other day, when I was there Saturday, they had a dumpster out on the southwest corner of Jones Stadium, and it's trash and just construction cleanup and things along those lines, right? And then when I went to practice the other day, they had 2 dumpsters out, and so they were still kind of cleaning up, the mess and stuff like that, and probably, furniture and things like that get moved in, big boxes and wood and all that kind of stuff. So they'll be ready. I'm glad it's a night game. Okay.
All right.
It's a joke. Okay, it's just a joke. All right. One last thing from Texas Tech defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter, and I think this is critical and it helps that penetrating the pocket is having guys on that front line, that defensive line, who can create push on the line. And here's Tim DeRuyter on that.
Well, we talked about Quincy. He's been a guy that's been a really good push guy. Jaden Cofield's had a heck of a camp. He's doing some really good things. Duda always, he was down a little bit the first week or so at camp, just, coming off an injury. But now that he's back, he's doing a good job with inside push. And Braylon Rigsby's been a good pass rush guy. He's got to get more consistent, but he's been a really good pass rush guy for us.
I think the one thing that I hear when I hear Tim DeRuyter talk too about his defense, and especially the defensive line and the linebackers, it always seems like he has multiple guys to talk about.
Right.
So,
and that would speak to that depth.
So I always view that as a positive because, I think when when you're always kind of focused on the same guy, and obviously offense is different than defense, and we're always going to focus on the quarterback. But I'm speaking more defensively. That when it seems like you have multiple guys that you're talking about that are making plays or have the capability of making plays, your consumer confidence in your defense starts to climb. And
no question.
And so that's the feel that I have when I think about this Tech defense, and I hear him talk, because I always hear him talk about multiple guys. All right, so let's shift to the offense, and the offensive coordinator, Zach Kittley. He was asked, and this is going to be a common question, about his quarterback, but really the question was how Baron Morton, his starting quarterback, has attacked camp so far this year.
I'm really impressed with him. He's done a really good job. It's kind of funny. Yesterday was his first interception he's thrown all camp in a team setting, and that's in about somewhere between 150, 160 throws. So if you put that, let's say you're throwing 40 times a game, which is a pretty high number, but you do that times, your 12 games, you're talking 3 picks in 12 games. I'll take that. And that was even off a tip ball. So he's just doing a really good job of the things we're told him to focus on, protecting himself in the pocket, number one, not turning the football over, and then just making good decisions. And he's done a really good job with that. So that, number one, on the field, and then off the field, just leadership has been unbelievable. I think that's probably the biggest growth he's had, is just being one of the team captains and leading his football team.
So of the 3 things that he talked about there, which is the most important to you? I mean, I know taking care of the football, but I think he's done a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of what I would lean on, and we've heard things that he needs to improve upon, and getting rid of the football at times and not taking a hit. We've all talked about the being accurate and being able to read defenses and not throwing interceptions. Another thing for me would be using the middle of the field a little bit more than he has in the past. So, I think with any good quarterback, you still are able to kind of look at things and feel like, hey, they need to do things a little bit better. If you were just going off of last season, you would probably need to say that he needs to throw the deep ball a little bit better too, where it was apparent that his arm was not right.
Yeah, and I think the last thing that he said there was making better decisions. And so what you hope now is that translates. Hey, play like you practice, right? If you're making better decisions in practice, you want to make better decisions in the game. So
yeah, and I think
the game speed's going to be different than practice speed, obviously.
Yeah, I think there was the vibe that I got is early on in his college career, he wasn't a great practice player because he wasn't necessarily a big-time student of the game, and he wasn't always putting the work in off the field, learning the offense in the playbook and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully as he's grown a little bit in age, that maturity has come along, and that's been a bigger part of the process.
Well, and maybe sometimes, and this is we've seen play, and I'm not saying that he's doing this or did this or done this, but sometimes when you realize, hey, I'm not going to play.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair.
It's hard. It's hard to kind of get yourself up if you're a younger player and you don't really feel like I'm not going to play. No reason for me to worry about it. Mm-hmm. But you've got to overcome, because that's a sign of maturity when you overcome that. Mm-hmm. When you go, oh yeah, I realize, hey, I've got to get ready to play. I've got to become a different type of player. Mm-hmm. And I'm not relating the two, but you talked earlier, because Jace Young's going to be playing in the major leagues, and you talked about how he's a different on the field type of player in what you've seen of him in minor league baseball versus what you saw of him here, maybe in terms of kind of how he handled himself.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit less emotional. All the above.
Yeah, all the above. Yeah. I'm still working on that, but I think I've gotten better at that.
You and me both.
Cam Brown, Coach Kittley was asked about him. He's the number 2 quarterback, and he's the quarterback that look, every time he comes in doesn't mean he's going to run, but the likelihood is there. But he can throw the ball too. But here he is talking about the run game.
Yeah, so we've done some things with him. I don't want to dive into the details, to give some of that stuff away, but you're going to see a lot of different ways that he does run it off of some different run schemes. But the good thing about him is he's not just a runner. He can throw the ball. He's doing a good job throwing the football for us this camp too. So that's where he has that different element where you can't just pack the box on him, because if you do, he's able to have full control of the offense and check some pass plays and throw it over their heads as well. So we'll kind of see based off of how the game flow goes and some of that stuff, but definitely hoping to get him in every game as long as we stay healthy, with number 2 back there and trying to sprinkle in some stuff with him here and there.
How was that?
What's your expectation of Cam Brown?
First off, if you going back to the way you started before the soundbite there is before the comments, if you're going to put him in the game only to run the ball, it's going to be pretty obvious what he's doing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm in agreement with Coach Kitley and what he said there, and you have to have a guy that can throw it over the top every once in a while, and so maybe the majority of the time he is running it, but then every once in a while you hit him with a big one, either to keep him honest, or an attempt at or to just get a big play, right? And I do expect, just because of the way we've seen them use other guys, when you had 3 quarterbacks healthy a few years ago, you use that second guy every game to do something, and sometimes it would come with some trickery, or sometimes it would just be the wildcat formation, whatever. But I expect to see him every game.
Yeah, kind of the Donovan Smith kind of aspect of things.
But I hated that we never saw Donovan throw out of that.
Yeah.
Like ever. We always felt like, they've just been setting it up. All right, it's coming. And it never came where he would fake the run and then throw.
A little dink and dunk kind of thing, maybe.
Well, I was thinking, if you're going to fake the run, everybody's coming to the line of scrimmage. I'm not dunking. I'm going deep.
Throw the long ball.
Yeah.
Throw something over the middle. Utilize that tight end, Jamie.
Okay.
Okay, right?
Any other football terms you want to throw out there?
Use that horizontal passing game.
Throw it to the Y, hit the post.
Yeah, just don't hit the R. The R is bad.
See, we're doing so good there. 7:25 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Question of the day is next.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, so Chuck, all summer long we've rehashed pros and cons and excited about and not excited about and worried about and not worried about.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything, or what's the number one thing, I should say, this off season? This is a 2-part question. What's the number one thing this off season that you feel worse about since the last season ended? Mm-hmm. And what's the one thing that you feel better about?
I think it's my 2 favorite positions. I think as I sit here today, and as I sat here a week ago today, I wasn't worried about this position, but I feel like I'm worried about the kicking, the field goal kicking in particular. I feel like that it kind of sounds like that the old confidence in hitting a 42-yard field goal to win a ball game is not quite there. We're not sure which guy to pick. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Kind of deal. And, feel like that we pick one and it doesn't work out, and then we pick the other one and it doesn't work out because the other one was kicking better. And it feels like there's a coin flip going on there. And then I think I feel better about the quarterback. I think I feel better about quarterback going into this season than I did last year, because 2 years ago I wanted him to start Donovan Smith. Last year I wanted him to start Baron Morton. This year they are going to start Baron Morton. We all are signed up on that. And after watching him throw the other day, I feel better about his velocity coming off of his arm.
Okay, 2 good answers.
Those are 2 good answers. They are not my answers, but those are 2 good answers. The group that I'm concerned about is, I don't know that it's more, but it's at least the same. I don't know that I'm more concerned about any specific group than I was at the end of the year, with the exception of maybe the kickers because of recent news. I wasn't worried until like this week when we heard about the kicking woes that they've had. But like over the course of the whole time, I'm still concerned about the offensive line. And I'm going to be until we get to actual games. It's not their fault. I'm going to be concerned about the offensive line until they just go dominate for a season. So that hasn't changed at all.
Heck, they're still trying to figure out who the starting five are.
Right, and that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Now, you'd think that means because it's really good competition. You've got 10 guys that are all fighting for it. But I would like to know who the five offense. Like we all would not like to be able to say we all know who our five offensive linemen are, and everybody else is chasing them because they're that much elevated over everybody in college football. Would be really nice. I'd like to experience that once to see what it's like. The one that I have gained the most confidence in would be your defensive line. You keep hearing from the defensive coaches, like the entire group. You hear from the offensive coaches when asked about how they're improving, that all of them have improved. That the entire group, while you might not have a Tyree Wilson, you've got 7 guys, 8 guys that are competing for spots at a very high level, and the competition has been raised from what it was last year as a group. So that leads me to believe while you might not have a dog, you've got like a pack of wolves that are going in and ready to do something as opposed to just one guy.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jeff on the offensive line thing. I feel like this offseason I've been confident because you brought in some good guys that you really wanted. And then I think I just turned, as we've gotten closer to games, I think I just turned towards the thing that I'm always nervous about. And I think I'm more now worried about the offensive line than I was 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't know that it's anything that I've heard that's changed that opinion. It's just knowing how many new guys that you're going to put in there and chemistry and feeling like it'll take a little time.
Seems unsettled.
Yeah, that's fair. And so I'm more nervous about the offensive line than I was 3 or 4 weeks ago. As far as what I think I'm more confident in, I mean, just seeing highlights, seeing these guys, I know sometimes it's even just in shells and it's just scrimmages and all that, but I think you have just an array of really good receivers. And I think maybe my low confidence level was because of last year's performance for quite a while. But after seeing these guys a little bit, it's just hard for me to think that you're not going to have a really good wide receiving core out there. And with Barron healthy, feel like you're going to be much better in the passing game this year. So I feel better about the wide receiver position / the passing game.
Okay. All right. 7:38 this morning here on the morning drive. Do you get the sense that this team looks bigger, looks more athletic, looks stronger, faster? Do you get any sense of that?
No, not really.
Okay.
They look big and fast all the time to me.
Okay. I didn't know if they
my speed
didn't look any distinguishing difference or anything.
I'm sure Coach McGuire and his guys could, or the strength and conditioning coaches could tell you that kind of stuff.
Because that's the kind of thing you always hear. Wow, we came back, bigger, stronger. This guy was doing this guy was doing that. The thing that you seem to hear a lot about with these guys is how fast they run. That seems to be a comment that comes up from time to time. Well, we had him on this deal, and he ran. He was running 21 miles an hour. He seemed to hear that quite a bit. So we'll see. We'll see what Jeff just used the exact same reasons for and against 2 different groups. Depth. Okay. They at least defensively, we've heard an awful lot about the depth.
Yes, when you talk defense, depth is a word you hear it a lot.
And that seems to be the one word that kind of resonated more than anything else. And on the offense, we got 3 NFL tight ends. God, I hope one of them makes it, because if we've got 3, then surely someone can come to the top and be a difference maker, right?
See, I just hope that we don't have to use them to block the 3 guys rushing.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's where my worry is, and we've seen that enough that I'm still bothered by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
2 this morning here on the Morning Drive with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio. Hour 3 of 3. If you have big weekend doings and you want to share or brag or complain, because you may have some weekend doings that you don't really want to do, and you just want to lament a little bit, you can. Or if you have something that you've got big time going on that you want to brag about, you can do that too. Okay. If you have something that you're like, man, that's really cool stuff. Like Joey McGuire's going to have you over for coffee, in his office before the scrimmage, or if, you're walking your daughter down the aisle, or if you have
That's the case. Congratulations.
Grandbaby being born or something like that. Congratulations, Mm-hmm. If you have, I don't know, whatever it is that you have, if you have something, people have got all kinds of celebrations going on, Mm-hmm. So if you have one of those,
I'm not as nearly as interested as your celebrations, but you got some complaints for this weekend?
Me?
Those are usually more entertaining for Jeff and I.
We have a situation.
A situation. All right. Start recording, Jeff.
We have a situation. We have a refrigerator in our garage. Okay.
Is your refrigerator running?
Yeah.
Better go catch it.
Yeah. Gosh. Here's the problem. It appears that the refrigerator is on the verge of going out, because you can hear the fan, making a noise. Mm-hmm. I was really, really proud of the lucky lady the other day, because I got up the other morning and I heard this sound, and I'm like, what is that? It's coming from the garage. What's going on out there? So I opened up the door and I could hear it coming from the refrigerator. I opened it up. I thought maybe something was, clogged up the fan or something or whatever. I think it's just an old refrigerator. We'd moved out of our house into the garage, like 99% of Americans do, and it sounds like it's on the fritz, but it was still making cold air. And then I said something to her about it. She's like, I know. I went out there, and she went out there in the middle of the night. She can hear ants crawl on the carpet, and she discovered it as well. I was like, I'm so proud of you, because usually that's not something that would be on her radar. That's something that would be kind of wonky like that. So anyway, so she had discovered that as well. So that's a potential problem, to clean that thing out and then find the plug of where it's plugged into and unplug it. Does
this go into the cleaning out the garage story?
Well, does it
parallel with that?
We can't.
No, I know we can't. But is it the reason we can't find the plug because we need to clean out the garage?
Potentially.
Okay.
I think I know where the plug is.
Have you considered calling a repairman to come fix it? A lot of times they can fix those things pretty easily.
Well, I don't know. That's a great.
We've had to have ours fixed before.
Yeah,
you can. It's pretty easy to find ours.
Yeah.
There's cars in there and a
right. Yeah, I understand that.
Fridge.
Before you call, one thing I would look at.
Yeah.
With a vacuum cleaner and a Phillips head screwdriver, I think it might be a flathead. It's on the bottom. You'll have to look. There's a grate on the bottom that you can take off to look underneath. If all of that is covered in dust and fuzzes and everything else, just run like a vacuum cleaner on it. Yeah. That cleans off a lot of that stuff, and that may be causing some of your noise.
It's the fan inside the freezer, I think, that's making the noise.
The fan inside the freezer?
Yeah. It's the fan inside the freezer. Clay had said this, try blowing it out with a shop vac, may have dust in it. Okay, well.
Yeah, that's kind of what Jeff's saying there.
That's what Jeff is, yeah. Yeah. Chuck is proud of his wife's.
It may not fix the problem, but it won't cost you anything to try.
Right. His wife's ears are functioning. Yeah. Well, again. I mean, she's safely tucked away over at Lubbock Cooper right now.
It was just kind of a detour you took there. Like, you were telling us about the situation, and then you dropped the situation, then you just made it, like, you just turned it to be about your wife.
Well, I know, but I'm sorry. Well, a lot of times, you know, there have been times when she's not been quite as observant on some things as others. Okay.
I can definitely be accused of that as well.
Yeah. So,
like, well, my wife would say, "Hey, you notice this isn't working, or it's not? It sounds funny." I'm like, "Nope, sure didn't notice." Yeah. Wives are good like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe this is your chance to, Chuck. You know, you can say to her, "See, you can use this." You can say, "Hey, we need to get this fixed," or, "Hey, we need to put a new one in here. We can't do it unless we clean the garage out."
Yeah.
Yeah, you just ignored me.
No, I'm with you. It's just gonna take some effort on my part.
I'm giving you conversation starters with your wife.
Oh, I appreciate
about
that.
how to get your garage cleaned out.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Hey, Jamie says, if all else fails, kick it or hit it to see if the noise stops. Sometimes it frees up the loose debris in the fan. Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah. This person says building a goat shelter all weekend, trying to figure out the best name for the only Billy we're getting. Brady, Tiger, Mahomes is I think what he made. Maybe Prime. How about
Prime?
How about MD for morning drive? No.
Well, I mean, we don't have like we have Jamie the calf. That's been our recent success.
Right.
We've had some others that didn't have great success.
Yeah. Like Heinz, the chicken that Sneed named after me and then got eaten by a dog or something.
Yeah, I mean.
And then the cow that got sold at the auction.
I'm just saying we haven't exactly had the greatest of luck with naming animals after us.
Yeah.
So I would avoid us.
Yeah, I think if it's a goat, I mean, don't you have to name it Simone?
Simone?
It's a goat. Remember she wears a goat around her neck?
Oh, Simone Biles, yeah. Gotcha.
Very humbly wears a goat around her neck.
Right, Simone. Right. Does it have to be this weekend or does next weekend count too? For my birthday, my parents won an auction for a signed basketball by Coach McCaslin. I also get to go to a practice and then lunch with him next week. Wow, that's really cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. That's really cool. Ask him about Frederico, and then...
I think he just refers to him as the big comma.
Okay. OMG, Jamie giving conversation starters. I know the world has flipped, right? Unplug it and let it defrost. Maybe that'll help. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good suggestion.
Put some towels down or something. Okay.
Right, yeah, right.
Or a pan or something.
Yeah, because it's gonna
leak out all over your cars that are in there, Chuck.
Right. Don't want to do
those cars that you keep in the garage.
Yeah. Don't want to do that.
Well, all those Sports Illustrateds you got saved in the garage.
That's right.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.